The eradication of the void. Imagine the exact moment a quiet room begins to feel unbearable. It starts with a subtle itch in the back of your mind, a slight discomfort that creeps in the second the noise stops. In our modern era, we have successfully engineered the complete eradication of the void. We have built a reality where you literally never have to be alone with your own thoughts again. You wake up and a screen immediately floods your vision with the lives of strangers. You commute with podcasts filling your ears, you eat meals while watching shows, and you fall asleep to the endless glow of short-form videos. The in-between moments of human existence, waiting in line, staring out a train window, sitting quietly before sleep, have been entirely deleted from your daily routine. By refusing to ever allow yourself to be bored, you have essentially declared war on silence. But this constant stream of input is not actually fulfilling you. It is acting as a digital anesthetic. You are desperately numbing a fundamental human state. Boredom was never meant to be the enemy. It was designed by our biology as a critical indicator, a psychological hunger that tells you it is time to move, to think, to change your environment. When you permanently silence that alarm with endless scrolling, you trap yourself in a state of perpetual distraction. The tragedy is that you do not even realize what you are losing in the process. The silence you are running away from is the exact space where your identity actually lives. By filling every single waking second with external noise, you are slowly, quietly evaporating into the background of your own life, becoming merely a passive observer to a world that never stops moving.
The dopamine baseline shift. When you permanently remove boredom from your life, you fundamentally alter the chemical architecture of your own brain. Every time you instinctively reach for your phone to avoid a moment of stillness, you are demanding a microdose of dopamine. Initially, this feels like harmless entertainment, but over time, your brain adapts to this relentless flood of artificial reward. This is known as a dopamine baseline shift. Because your neurological system is constantly saturated with high-intensity stimuli, its sensitivity dramatically plummets. The quiet, profound joys of being alive, reading a physical book, watching a slow sunset, having a deep, unhurried conversation, suddenly feel agonizingly slow and unrewarding. Your brain mathematically recalibrates to require explosions of fast-paced, high-contrast digital input just to feel normal. You are no longer scrolling to feel good, you are scrolling just to stave off the crushing weight of an understimulated withdrawal. The terrifying consequence of this chemical shift is a persistent underlying state of modern exhaustion. You feel deeply tired all the time, not because you're doing too much physical labor, but because your central processor is running at maximum capacity every single second of the day. You are constantly processing thousands of fragmented narratives, global tragedies, and fleeting trends, leaving absolutely zero reserves for your own life. By refusing to ever experience the gentle dip of boredom, you have essentially flatlined your capacity for true excitement, trapping yourself in an endless gray purgatory of constant, meaningless stimulation that leaves you feeling profoundly empty.
The death of the default mode network. There is a deeply misunderstood mechanism inside your brain called the default mode network. This neural pathway only activates when your mind is completely at rest, when you are simply staring at the ceiling or walking without a destination. This is the biological home of human daydreaming. It is the exact place where your subconscious mind takes all the chaotic, fragmented pieces of your day and weaves them together into profound, cohesive understanding. When you never allow yourself to be bored, you actively suppress this vital network. You are essentially denying your brain the critical maintenance time it needs to process your reality. Without the default mode network firing, you lose the ability to reflect on who you are and where you are going. Your mind becomes a cluttered, overflowing inbox that is never actually sorted or emptied. You experience the world purely reactively, constantly responding to the next notification, the next email, the next viral trend, without ever taking a step back to ask if any of it actually matters to you. The absence of this quiet, reflective state causes a deep psychological friction. You begin to feel unmoored, drifting through your own life without a solid anchor. The brilliant epiphanies, the sudden solutions to complex problems, and the deep emotional processing that only happen when the mind is wandering are completely lost.
You are surviving the modern world, but you are absolutely failing to process it. By killing the quiet moments of boredom, you have effectively turned off the subconscious engine that builds the narrative of your own unique individual existence.
The atrophy of human imagination completely does not come from constant inspiration. It is almost entirely forged in the uncomfortable fires of absolute boredom. Throughout human history, the greatest artistic masterpieces, the most profound philosophical shifts, and the heaviest technological breakthroughs occurred because brilliant minds were given the space to sit with absolutely nothing to do. Imagination mathematically requires an empty canvas to function. If you are constantly flooding your mind with the creative output of other people, you completely starve your own capacity to generate original thought. You transform from an active creator into a permanent passive consumer. When boredom strikes, it creates a psychological vacuum, a deep hunger for novelty that forces your brain to invent, to build, and to dream. But when you immediately plug that vacuum with a glowing screen, the imagination muscle completely atrophies. You start to recycle the exact same opinions, the exact same jokes, and the exact same aesthetics as the algorithm feeds you. The unique, chaotic beauty of your individual perspective is slowly sanded down into a smooth, highly predictable digital conformity. You lose the ability to entertain yourself with your own thoughts. The devastating reality of never being bored is that you will never again experience the profound magic of creating something entirely from scratch. Your mind becomes a crowded, noisy waiting room of other people's ideas, leaving absolutely no quiet space for your own artistic soul to breathe, to expand, or to challenge the beautiful, mysterious world you live in.
The intolerance of internal silence? When the constant stream of digital noise is suddenly stripped away, what is left behind is often terrifying to the modern mind. We have fundamentally lost the tolerance for our own internal silence. The reason we reach for our phones in the elevator, at the red light, or in the moments before sleep is not truly out of a desire for entertainment. It is an active, desperate avoidance mechanism. We are running away from the unresolved anxieties, the quiet grief, and the profound existential questions that patiently wait for us in the dark. Boredom acts as a mirror, reflecting exactly what is happening beneath the surface of your conscious mind. If you are deeply unhappy with your career, your relationships, or your sense of purpose, those heavy truths will immediately surface the second you sit in a quiet room. By ensuring that you are never bored, you successfully drown out that internal voice. You never have to face the uncomfortable reality of your own emotional state. But this avoidance comes at a crushing psychological cost. The repressed emotions do not simply disappear. They mutate into a quiet, persistent background anxiety that hums through your entire nervous system. You feel constantly on edge, waiting for a threat that isn't there, because you are actively suppressing your own biological alarm bells. You are treating your own mind like a hostile environment that must be escaped at all costs. The tragedy is that true peace can never be found in endless distraction. It can only be earned by finally sitting still, facing the uncomfortable silence, and listening to what your soul is desperately trying to tell you.
The illusion of constant connection. You have tethered yourselves to a digital network that promises infinite social connection, yet leaves us feeling more profoundly isolated than ever before in human history. When you fill every silent moment by observing the curated lives of others, you build an illusion of intimacy. You feel as though you are part of a global village, constantly updated on the thoughts and actions of thousands of people. However, this is a heavy, phantom connection. It lacks the rich, chaotic, and demanding friction of authentic human vulnerability. By never allowing yourself the quiet space to feel deeply lonely, you completely bypass the exact biological trigger that was designed to push you out into the physical world to seek real, meaningful relationships. True intimacy requires time, patience, and the willingness to sit through awkward, unscripted moments of silence with another human being. When you are conditioned to flee from even a single second of boredom,
You lose the patience required to cultivate deep love or true lasting friendship. You begin to treat real people like digital content, quickly scrolling past them the moment the interaction no longer provides a rapid dopamine spike. The heartbreaking result is a society entirely surrounded by digital voices, but completely starving for a genuine physical touch. You are insulated in a perfectly optimized bubble of constant entertainment, while your deeply human need to be truly seen and understood slowly suffocates under the immense weight of meaningless interactions.
The fragmentation of human memory? One of the most terrifying, invisible consequences of never being bored is the profound acceleration of how you perceive time. Have you noticed how the years seem to be blurring together, slipping through your fingers faster than ever before? This is not just a symptom of getting older. It is a direct mathematical result of how you are treating your central processor. Memory formation is a delicate, resource-heavy biological process. To move an experience from short-term data into a long-term, deeply felt memory, your brain requires quiet, uninterrupted processing time. When you seamlessly transition from an intense workday straight into hours of high-speed digital consumption, you deny your brain the critical downtime required to encode your own life. You are cramming massive, overwhelming amounts of useless data into a highly finite storage system, constantly overriding the subtle, beautiful moments of your actual reality. Your days lose their distinct borders and chapters, blending into a single monotonous gray smear of constant stimulation. You look back at the past year and struggle to recall meaningful milestones because your brain was too utterly exhausted by the relentless noise to actually write them down. You are mathematically shortening your own psychological lifespan. By refusing to pause, to stare blankly out a window, or to simply let an afternoon pass in quiet reflection, you are actively choosing to forget your own journey, trading the permanent, rich architecture of your memories for the cheap, highly toxic thrill of a temporary distraction.
The reclaiming of the quiet void is not found in a complex technological fix, but in a heavy, terrifying return to the raw human baseline. You must aggressively reclaim the quiet void. The first time you intentionally put down the screen and force yourself to sit in an empty room, the experience will feel agonizing. The withdrawal from constant stimulation will scream at you, manifesting as a deep, uncomfortable physical restlessness. You will feel an intense, almost painful urge to escape the silence. But if you have the courage to endure that initial wave of panic, something profoundly beautiful begins to happen. As the heavy digital static slowly fades from your nervous system, the architecture of your true self begins to reassemble. The thick fog of exhaustion lifts, and the rich, vivid colors of the physical world return to your senses. You will suddenly hear the rhythm of your own breathing and feel the solid, grounding weight of the present moment. Your imagination, starved for so long, will spark back to life, flooding your mind with original, unborrowed ideas. You will finally have the mental space to grieve your losses, celebrate your victories, and map out a future that actually belongs to you. Allowing yourself to be bored is not a surrender to emptiness. It is the ultimate act of rebellion against a world that demands your constant attention. It is the absolute, non-negotiable requirement for discovering exactly who you are when nobody else is looking, and quietly taking back the ownership of your own beautiful, chaotic, and deeply human mind.